My phone buzzed at 11:47 on a Friday night. I was sitting alone at the kitchen table, finishing the last few bills of the month while my 9-year-old daughter, Emma, slept upstairs. I almost ignored the notification. Then I saw my brother Ryan's name. Ryan never texted that late unless something was wrong. I opened the message. There were only 7 words. Kids are in a cab to your place. I stared at the screen. For several seconds, I couldn't process what I had read. Then another message appeared. Please take care of them. I immediately called him. The phone rang. Once. Twice. 3 times. No answer. I tried again. This time it went straight to voicemail. Ryan, what's going on? I hung up and called his wife, Megan. Her phone was switched off. A strange pressure formed in my chest. Ryan had 2 children. 8-year-old Noah. 6-year-old Sophie. He loved those kids more than anything. He would never send them across town alone at nearly midnight without explaining why. I called him again. Nothing. I grabbed my jacket and stepped outside. The neighborhood was almost completely silent. A cold wind moved through the trees. Then I saw headlights approaching. A taxi slowed near my driveway. The rear door opened. Noah stepped out. He was wearing jeans, a hoodie, and a backpack that looked far too heavy for him. Sophie followed. She was clutching a stuffed rabbit against her chest. The taxi driver stepped out. Are you Daniel Harper? Yes. Your brother gave me this address. Where is he? The driver shook his head. He wasn't with them. My stomach tightened. Did he say where he was going? No. Did he look worried? The driver thought for a moment. Very. What exactly did he tell you? He asked me to make sure the children reached your door. Then he paid in cash. That's all. I looked at the children. Noah's face was pale. Sophie looked as if she might cry. I crouched in front of them. Hey. It's Uncle Daniel. You're safe now. Sophie immediately hugged me. Her little arms wrapped around my neck. Daddy said you'd know what to do. I forced myself to smile. Where is your dad? Noah looked down. I don't know. Did he tell you anything before you left? He nodded. Then he reached into his backpack. His hands trembled as he pulled out a folded piece of paper. Dad said I should give you this. If he didn't come back. My heart stopped. I unfolded it. Ryan's handwriting was unmistakable. The message contained one sentence. Don't call the police until you read what's under Emma's bed. I read it twice. Then a third time. I looked toward the house. Emma was sleeping upstairs. Why would Ryan mention her bed? What had he hidden there? And why would he tell me not to call the police? I looked at Noah. Did your dad say anything else? Noah hesitated. Then Sophie spoke. He said someone was following him. I felt a chill. Who? She shook her head. I don't know. Did you see anyone? No. But Daddy kept looking behind him. Noah nodded. He told us not to look out the windows. I stood slowly. Every instinct told me something was terribly wrong. I thanked the taxi driver and paid him extra for bringing the children safely. Then I brought everyone inside. Emma woke when she heard footsteps. She appeared at the top of the stairs in pajamas. Dad, it's okay. Who are they? I introduced her to Noah and Sophie. Emma immediately smiled. They can sleep in my room. Noah nodded gratefully. Sophie held her stuffed rabbit tighter. I helped them settle down. I made hot chocolate. Found blankets. Checked every lock in the house. But my mind wasn't with the children. It was with the note. Under Emma's bed. When everyone was finally quiet, I walked upstairs. Emma's bedroom door was slightly open. Moonlight came through the window. I stepped inside. For a moment, I simply stood there. Then I lifted the edge of the bed. Nothing. I moved the blankets. Nothing. I reached underneath. My fingers touched something cold. Metal. I pulled it toward me. A small black box emerged from beneath the bed. It wasn't something I'd ever seen before. There was a combination lock on the front. I examined it carefully. Then I remembered something. Ryan and I had a childhood code. Our parents' anniversary. April 27th. I entered the numbers. Click. The lock opened. Inside were several things. A passport. A USB drive. 3 photographs. A small key. And an envelope. My name was written on it. Daniel. My hands started shaking. I opened the envelope. The letter began. Daniel, if you're reading this, Ryan is missing. I stopped breathing for a moment. I continued. I don't know who I can trust anymore. Not even the police. For the last 6 months, someone has been following my family. I looked toward the hallway. Every floorboard suddenly seemed louder. The letter continued. I tried to find out who they were. I discovered something I wasn't supposed to see. That's why I sent Noah and Sophie to you. I swallowed. Then I read the next line. Whatever happens, Don't let anyone take them. I looked at the two sleeping children, then back at the letter. The final paragraph contained only 4 words. Trust no one, Daniel. I slowly lowered the paper. A photograph fell from the envelope. I picked it up. It showed Ryan standing outside a parking garage. Beside him was a man I'd never seen before. The man's face was partially hidden. I turned the photograph over. Ryan had written something on the back. He's been watching us for 6 months. My heart began pounding. Then I noticed something else. The photograph wasn't old. In the bottom corner was a timestamp. It had been taken that very evening, only hours before Ryan sent his children away. I picked up the USB drive. Before I could examine it, a sound came from downstairs. A soft creak. I froze. Someone had stepped onto the floor. I quietly turned off the bedroom light. I listened. Another creak. Then another. Someone was walking through my house. I reached for my phone. The screen showed no signal. That was strange. I always had reception. I moved toward the window. Outside, the street was empty. Then headlights appeared at the far end of the road. A black SUV stopped beneath a streetlight. It didn't move. It simply sat there, watching. My phone suddenly buzzed. One new message. Unknown number. I opened it. There were only 6 words. You should not have opened it. I looked toward the bedroom door. Then downstairs. Noah and Sophie were still asleep. Emma was asleep beside them. I locked the bedroom door. For the first time that night, I understood why Ryan had sent his children to me. He hadn't simply needed a babysitter. He had been trying to save their lives. And whoever had been watching his family had just found us. I stared at the unknown message until the screen went dark. You should not have opened it. For several seconds, I didn't move. Then I heard a soft knock. Not at the front door. At Emma's bedroom door. Dad. Emma's sleepy voice came through the wood. It's me. I immediately unlocked the door. Emma stood there rubbing her eyes. Why did you lock the door? I crouched beside her. Did you hear something? She shook her head. Just a noise downstairs. My stomach tightened. I looked toward the hallway. Stay here. But, please. Something in my voice made her nod. I grabbed the small metal key from Ryan's box and slipped it into my pocket. Then I quietly walked downstairs. The house was dark. I checked the living room. Empty. Kitchen. Empty. Back door. Locked. Every window was shut. For a moment, I wondered if exhaustion had made me imagine everything. Then I noticed the front door. The lock was still engaged, but the handle was wet. Someone had touched it. I looked through the glass. The black SUV was gone. I returned upstairs and woke Noah. Where did your father take you before the taxi? Noah looked frightened. We were at home. Did anyone come inside? He shook his head. Dad told us to pack. Then he gave the driver your address. Yes. Did he say where he was going? Noah hesitated. He said he had to fix something. What? I don't know. Sophie suddenly sat up. He said he had to get the blue folder. I looked at her. What blue folder? She pointed toward the backpack. Daddy said it was important. I opened Noah's backpack. Inside were clothes, snacks, a water bottle, and a small blue folder. My heart began pounding. I opened it. The folder contained copies of bank statements, property records, and several pages of corporate documents. At the bottom was a list of names. Some were familiar. One name stopped me cold. My own name. I stared at it. Why would Ryan have documents about me? Noah shook his head. I don't know. Then I noticed a handwritten note. Project North Star. Underneath were 3 words. Harper Family Connection. I felt the room tilt. Someone had been investigating our family. Not just Ryan. Us. I took out the USB drive. My laptop was downstairs. I brought it upstairs and plugged it in. There was only one file. A video. I clicked play. Ryan appeared on the screen. He looked exhausted. There were dark circles beneath his eyes. Daniel, if you're watching this, I couldn't make it. I stopped breathing. Ryan continued. I found out who has been following us. It's not random. It's connected to Dad. I stared at the screen. Our father had died 7 years earlier. Ryan continued. Before Dad died, he discovered that someone had been moving money through his company. I thought he was mistaken. He wasn't. The money was tied to a private investment network. That network is still active. I paused the video. My mind raced. Our father had owned a small manufacturing business. Nothing extraordinary. At least, that's what we believed. I resumed the video. Ryan leaned closer to the camera. I found records proving Dad tried to expose them. Then he died. I don't believe it was an accident. My hands went cold. Ryan continued. I've spent months trying to trace the money. I finally found the person at the center. He looked directly into the camera. His name is Martin Vale. I recognized the name. Everyone did. Martin Vale was a respected businessman, a philanthropist, a man who appeared regularly on television. Ryan continued. He owns half the companies connected to the old network. And he knows I found the records. The video suddenly froze. Then the screen went black. A new message appeared on my laptop. Delete the file. I immediately unplugged the USB. Sophie began crying. What happened? Nothing. But everything had changed. Someone had access to the USB. Someone knew I had opened it. Someone knew exactly where we were. Then my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered without speaking. A man's voice came through. Daniel. My blood ran cold. Who is this? You know who. Where is my brother? A pause. Ryan made a mistake. Where is he? He's alive. I closed my eyes. Let me speak to him. Not yet. If you hurt him, we don't want to hurt anyone. Then leave my family alone. The man laughed softly. Your family became involved the moment you opened the box. The call ended. I immediately called the police. This time, I didn't hesitate. I told them everything. The officer on the phone instructed us to stay inside and wait. 20 minutes later, 2 patrol cars arrived. I showed them the note, photographs, USB drive, and documents. One officer studied the papers carefully. Do you know Martin Vale? Not personally. He looked at me. Are you sure? Yes. The officer exchanged a glance with his partner. There's something you should know. What? Martin Vale's security company has contracts with several government facilities. He's well connected. My stomach dropped. Can you find my brother? We'll try. The next morning, detectives discovered Ryan's abandoned car. It was parked 12 miles away. His phone was inside. The driver's door was unlocked. But there was no sign of him. Then they found something inside the trunk. A second laptop. It contained financial records dating back 15 years. And one document that changed everything. Our father's signature appeared at the bottom. Beside it was another signature. Martin Vale. The investigators realized the case was much bigger than a missing person. Ryan had uncovered a network that had been operating for years. Money had been diverted through shell companies. Businesses had been purchased secretly. People who threatened to expose the operation had suddenly disappeared from public life. And now Ryan was missing. But there was one thing nobody expected. 3 days later, my phone rang. It was Ryan. I answered immediately. Ryan. His breathing was heavy. Daniel, where are you? I can't tell you. Are you safe? For now. I heard movement behind him. He whispered. Listen carefully. I didn't send the kids to you because I trusted you. I froze. Then why? Because you're the only person they can't control. What does that mean? Remember Dad's old workshop? Yes. Go there. What am I looking for? The truth. The call ended. I immediately drove to the workshop with the detectives. Inside, everything looked exactly as it had years ago. Dust-covered tools. Old photographs. A broken workbench. Then I noticed a loose floorboard. Beneath it was a metal safe. The key from Ryan's box fit the lock. Inside was an old ledger. And a handwritten letter from our father. The first line read, If my sons ever find this, it means I failed to stop them. The letter explained everything. Our father had discovered the illegal network. He had tried to expose it. But before he could, he realized people inside the system were protecting the operation. He hid the evidence. He waited for someone he trusted to finish what he started. That person had been Ryan. And now, it was me. Months later, the investigation led to multiple arrests. Martin Vale was charged after financial records proved his involvement. Ryan was found alive in a safe location. He had escaped when he realized his captors were moving him. The night he came home, Noah and Sophie ran into his arms. I stood nearby with tears in my eyes. Ryan hugged me afterward. I thought I was sending my kids somewhere safe. You did. You saved them. I shook my head. We saved each other. He smiled. Years later, the children barely remembered the frightening night when a taxi dropped them at my door. But I remembered. I remembered the message. The empty street. The black SUV. And the words. You should not have opened it. Sometimes, a family crisis begins with a single unexpected phone call. Sometimes, a frightened child arriving at your door is not an inconvenience. Sometimes, it is a warning. Ryan had vanished into the darkness because he believed he had no other choice. But when he sent his children to me, he gave me something far more important than a mystery. He gave me the chance to protect the people I loved. And in the end, That was exactly what I did.